send y'all spec. And hits that me, that's facts. I'm still coming for a play. When I hear something, then shut up, 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 shut up.
Welcome back to Power on a Penny, the series where I take 4 of the game's most powerful commanders and build you a deck where each card is under $1, so you can be experiencing some of these high power playstyles, you know, for not that crazy amount of money. So, on today's docket, we've got a giant spell Rowan Scion of War deck, a giant creature Henzie Toolbox Tori deck, an enchantress the Master of Keys deck, and a spellslinger / token Elsha Threefold Master deck. So if any or all those sound interesting to you, you're going to love this video. And if you want to click on one of the timestamps down below on the timeline, you can find one of those decks if you're more interested in it than the other ones. With that, make sure to like, subscribe. Let's get into it. So before we hop into Rowan Scion of War, I'm not going to be discussing every single card that's in all 4 of these decks, because if I do that with one deck, it averages about 30 minutes. So this would be a 2-hour long video. Probably 4 hours of recording, because welcome back to the series where So, for the sake of this video, it's not going to be 4 full deck techs. It's going to be 4 broad strokes of how these decks function and whether or not you would be into them. Speaking of broad strokes, my wife hasn't touched me in months. Did I do the Dangerfield impression again? Rowan Scion of War is 1 a black and a red for a 4/2 menace. You can tap her. Spells you cast this turn that are black and or red cost X less to cast, where X is the amount of life you lost this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So clearly the name of the game here is we're trying to lose as much life as we can on our turn, so our stuff is dirt cheap. We're talking Reagan economy cheap without the whole war on drugs, HIV. The deck runs a 12-card kit of ways that we can, as many times as we want during a turn, pay life. These include cards like Marrow Bats, which you can pay 4 life to regenerate Marrow Bats. You could stack that as many times as you want, pay 12 life, regenerate it 3 times. It doesn't have to be dying, you can just do that whenever. Stuff like Shadow Cloak Vampire, which you can give flying if you pay 2 life. Again, you can do that as many times as you want. Or something like Molten Steel Dragon, whose mana cost requires Phyrexian mana, which you could pay 4 colorless and 4 life to play this thing, and then give it +1/+0 until end of turn by paying 2 life or 1 red. Again, as many times a turn as you want. The deck also runs plenty of ways to consistently lose life. That's not as manipulatable, it just happens once on your turn, or you can make it happen once. These include cards like Dark Tutelage, which is 2 and a black for an enchantment that lets you reveal the top card of your library on your upkeep, lose life equal to its mana cost, and put it into your hand. Or something like Mere Convert, which just simply swaps out one of our rocks for itself because it requires us to pay 2 life to get a mana. So in this deck, actually makes it better. And of course, the deck runs card draw like Sign in Blood, because the whole lose 2, draw 2 is fantastic in this deck, because now all your spells cost 2 less, and you just drew 2, so you have more spells. It's gonna be good. Pair any of these with Rowan, and you quickly see how massive spells can cost little to no mana in this deck. So, which massive spells are we playing? Let's get into it. Giant instants and sorceries like Apex of Power are really good, being 7 and 3 red for a sorcery. Exile the top 7 cards of your library. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among them. If this spell was cast from your hand, add 10 mana of any one color. So not only are all the spells we cast on a turn that we activate Rowan reduced, it's not just the first spell, it's every red or black spell we cast. Apex of Power is going to give us a ton of new stuff to cast, as well as giving us, sure, here's a ton of mana. The next way to use Rowan is X spells. So cost reduction actually does affect an X spell. So if you have Fireball in your hand, for example, X and a red, deal X to any target. If you have reduced all the cost of your red or black spells this turn with Rowan by, let's say, 6, you can pay 1 red and Fireball something for 6 this turn. So X spells are incredibly good. And pretty much any X spell is gonna be pretty good in this deck. So whatever your favorites are, throw those in here. A few of my favorites in my list. I really like Devil's Play because it's a fireball with flashback. So we can just bang, pretty much take someone out. So if any opponent at the table is at less life than we are, we can pay an amount of life to where we're just at almost dead, and then Devil's Play someone to take him out of the game, and then have the flashback as well, and then flash it back and maybe take out a second person out of the game. kind of fun. And those plays are actually extremely valid in a deck like this because it also runs plenty of cards that are like March of Wretched Sorrow, which is X in a black, you deal X damage to target creature and gain X life. So on that same turn you did the Devil's play and took yourself down to like 2 life, you could drop a March and, you know, just go ahead, take yourself back up there, buddy. And then once you're back up there, go ahead and pay all your life again to one of those life engines and then fireball someone for double the damage we've already lost this turn, because we just lost another set of damage. It's busted. Even something as simple as Commune with Lava is incredible. Being X and 2 red, exile the top X cards of your library. You may cast them until the end of your next turn. So your next turn, probably this turn with the cost reduction of Rowan, both are going to be incredibly explosive. You just drop this for 2 red, lost 8 life this turn. I'll exile my top 8. Oh, look at that. I can play most of them this turn because, again, the cost reduction still applies, so I'll fling all these into play. Anything that's an instant, I can still play during other people's turns. Pretty incredible. Again, every card in all 4 of the decks you're going to see today are under $1. A couple of the commanders are like $1 or $2. You can find them on TCG Player for under $1. I included them because the price just kind of fluctuated overnight, and I said, no. And if you want to order these decks or just check them out in full deck list of all 4 decks are going to be found in the description and in the comments, so you can check those out there. And with that, let's move on to deck number 2. Yeah, everybody back in school called me a weirdo, so I finally took medicine that said it would help with me being irregular. Ended up shitting my pants. Deck number 2 is based around Henzie, Toolbox, Tori, who is a black, a red, and a green for a 3/3. Each creature spell you cast with mana value 4 or greater has Blitz. The Blitz cost is equal to its mana cost. And if you don't know what Blitz is, you may choose to cast a creature for its Blitz cost. If you do, it gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card, sacrifice this creature at the beginning of the end step. It also has Blitz cost you pay cost 1 less for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. So right off the bat, we get a 1 cost reduction for all of our big stuff. We can blitz it into play to have it get haste so we can attack right away. We get a built-in card draw, and we have to sack the creature that we blitz into play at the end of turn. There's probably no way we could manipulate that to be overpowered. There's a lot of ramp in this deck. There's 16 pieces of ramp. That's because there is, let me see here. Let me get the exact number. It's under the category beefers, if you want to see it in the actual Mox field. Yeah, we run 21 beefers in the deck, and we'll get to that. You can probably guess what they are. We're going to need the mana ramp. This mana ramp includes Heartless Summoning and Honest Rutstein, because, again, Henzie's whole thing is you are blitzing big creatures into play, bashing face, getting card draw, and, yeah, we have to sack them at the end of turn. The thing is, we only get the whole giving haste thing and giving it blitz and getting the cost reduction if it costs 4 or more. So small fries, 3 or less, they're not gonna sizzle like those steaky boys are. So cost reducers are going to be great because we can then blitz massive creatures into play for way cheaper than they're meant to enter play. And as you'll come to find out, there are creatures that are balanced to not have haste, and being able to give them haste is incredible. Turns out to be really good. So first off, we've got my favorite kit of creatures in the deck, and that is the vanilla absolute beefcake creatures they keep printing in sets that I absolutely love. Keep it up. I dig that shit. We've got Calyx Scion Hunger Tyrant, which is a 1 and 2 black 7/2. We've got Quake Strider Ceratops, which is a 3 and 3 green 12/8, and Yargle Glutton of Urborg, which is a 4 and a black 9/3. Why not? You know what I mean? Giving any of those haste and blitzing them into play is going to be incredible because, again, they're already like pretty low costed for how big they are. They're going to be even more cost reduced from Henzie, possibly some of our mana ramp stuff we have in play. Hypothetically, it's not unlikely to see these hit play for like 3 mana, 4 mana. You've also got cards that were balanced to not have haste, like Atali Primal Hunger being a 4 and 2 red 6/6 that when it attacks, you exile the top card of everyone's deck and you can cast them for free. Yeah, that's a big enough effect that it was designed for the opponents to see that, have a rotation to deal with it, and inevitably deal with it because fuck that. Or something like Evercoat Ursine, which is a 4 and a green 6/5 trample with Hideaway 3 and then Hideaway 3 again. So when this creature enters, look at your top 3, exile 1 underneath Evercoat Ursine, put the rest at the bottom, and then do that again. And then whenever Evercoat Ursine deals combat damage to a player, if there are cards exiled with it, you may cast one without paying its mana cost. Again, this is a card where you set it up and you go, hey table, I'm about to cast 2 spells for free. over the course of the next 2 turns. So if you want to deal with it, here's your chance. Not in this deck, not in Henzie. In Henzie, you actually just go, I'm going to go ahead and hide away 3 and bash your face, play something giant for free, and then crack it to the blitz, draw a card from the blitz, or something like Inferno Titan. Hello. 6-drop, 6/6. When it enters, deal 3 divided, or attacks, deal 3 divided. And it's got fire breathing. I'll play this for probably 3-4 mana in this deck, and deal 6 damage divided when it enters, swing for 6, and then possibly buff it up even more than that. Sure. Then draw a card from sacking it off blitz. It's pretty gross. The deck also runs a kit of ways to cheat those creatures into play, because outside of the whole Henzie blitzing stuff into play, you still have a ton of big creatures, so just playing them for free, that's going to be good. Especially when it's on something like Gamekeeper, being a 3 and a green 2/2 that when it dies, you reveal cards off the top until you hit a creature and put it into play for free. Yeah, that's right, 3 and a green. So this is blitzable. So you play this for 3, blitz it, swing, hit someone for 2, sack it, draw a card. When it dies, reveal till you hit a creature, play a big creature off top. That's fine. Or a creature like Kethek is really good in this deck, because at your end step, you get to sack a creature and then reveal off top till you hit a creature that costs less than the creature you sacked and put it into play. And when we're playing 6, 7, 8 drops for 3, 4, 5 mana, this becomes incredibly good, because then we sack it, hit a 8 drop, hit a 7 drop, play it for free. We're turning every Henzie blitz into a guaranteed hit into another creature, which is going to be really good over the course of a game. Now, on the other side of this cheating the big creatures into play coin, we run some recursion in the deck, because that's going to be really, really good. Junji Midnight Sky is a giant creature that we can blitz that has a death trigger to reanimate something into play. So in this deck, blitz this into play, bash someone for 5, crack it, get back one of your things you blitzed the turn earlier and have it stick this time. Junji's fantastic. Or Riveteer's Ascendancy, which is literally built for this deck. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you can return a creature from your graveyard with lesser mana value into play. Oh, word? Yeah, this is probably one of the best cards in the entire deck. So, cheating them from grave, cheating them from hand, cheating them from library, we're all about. Again, if you want to check out this deck in full, pick up the deck, anything like that, links are found down below in the description and in the comments. And with that, let's move on to the third deck for today. The third deck on today's Power on a Penny is an Enchantress deck based around the Master of Keys. The Master of Keys is X, a white, a blue, and a black for a 3/3 flying. When it enters, put X/1/1 counters on it, and mill twice X cards. Each enchantment card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost, plus exile 3 cards from your graveyard. And escaping is just playing that spell from your graveyard. So outside of the commander, of course, the deck needs some ways to mill yourself so you can fill your graveyard with enchantments. We'll get into that whole aspect in a minute. Few of my favorites in the list. Factor Fiction is always one of my favorite cards to fill graveyards, because it's really a damned if they do, damned if they don't. Look at your top 5. An opponent separates them into 2 piles. You pick one, put it into your hand. Great card draw. Great way to fill your graveyard. I couldn't recommend it enough. If you've got access to blue and you're in a graveyard deck, try out Factor Fiction. It's an instant. It's one of my favorite cards. Love this thing. Sage of Mysteries and Scrabbling Skullcrab are both 1 blue creatures that will cause enchantments ETBing on our side into mill happening for us. So these are going to be incredible. This, honestly, by the end of the deck, you'll see probably 2 of the best cards in the list. They're incredible for what we're trying to do here. Or just one of my favorites, like Perpetual Timepiece. Tap it, mill yourself for 2, or pay 2, exile it, shuffle any amount of cards from your graveyard back into your deck. This thing is incredible. If you overmill yourself by accident, it's a reset button. It's also part of the why you milled yourself by accident. Man, I love you when I hate you. I hate you, but I love you. But I hate you. It's gonna be good. So I hear yourself asking, okay, it was the same thing I asked when I read Master of Keys. Hey, if I could just play the enchantments and just run more card draw so I could draw more of those enchantments and just play them, why wouldn't I do that? As opposed to milling myself, having my commander in play, escaping enchantments out of my graveyard back into play. Couldn't I just play the enchantments and run a better commander for that? You definitely could, if you're going straight up that route. Let me explain to you why this commander is incredible. Let me introduce you to repeatable enchantments, okay? These are all the little tiny trinket enchantments that are made in like every other set Magic releases that sack themselves to give yourself like a little minute bonus, all right? So a few of my favorites in here. The Seal Cycle, Seal of Cleansing, Seal of Removal, and Seal of Doom. Seal of Doom can crack itself to destroy a non-black creature. Seal of Removal can crack itself to return a creature to its owner's hand, and Seal of Cleansing can crack itself to destroy an artifact artifact or enchantment. Yeah, and it's an enchantment, so it has escape because of our commander, so we can play a seal, crack a seal, exile cards from our graveyard to escape the seal back into play, crack it again. Oh wow. And that single seal of cleansing just wiped out 3, 4, 5 of the biggest problem enchantments or artifacts in play, and we're not even done. Dress Down might be the best card in the entire deck, being a 1 and a blue flash speed enchantment. All creatures lose all abilities. At the end of turn, sacrifice Dress Down. Oh, look at that, it's got flash. Oh, and it's an enchantment that sacks itself. This is going to be repeated over and over by our deck to our opponent's absolute dismay, which is completely fine. You've got stuff like Font of Fortunes to draw you cards, Omen of the Sun to produce you tokens, Soul Snare to exile problem creatures, Alseed of Life's Bounty to provide protection from our commander or important creatures we have in play. There's a lot of insanely valuable effects that we in this deck we are going to be machine gunning at opponents to get tons of value. And all the while, we are casting these enchantments from graveyard over and over again. So stuff like Mesa Enchantress is going to be firing off all the time, drawing us a ton of cards. Love that. And also triggering our powerhouse stuff like Sigil of the Empty Throne. You want a 4/4 angel with flying every time you recycle one of these baubles in and out of your graveyard? I thought you might. Throw in a Redress Fate or an Open the Vault, and you can start absolutely flooding your board with tens of these trinkets and crack them all. Do whatever you want with them. Activate your Sigil of the Empty Throne a billion times when you replay them. Really fun stuff, actually. And on a budget, going this more bauble route, definitely more budget friendly. And if you want to check out the deck more in depth or order the deck, you can find the links down below or in the comments. And with that, we'll move on to the fourth and final deck of today's video. Deck number 3 for today is based around Elsha Threefold Master, who's a blue, a red, and a white for a 1/1 trample. Prowess, which means he gets a 1/1 whenever we play a non-creature spell, and whenever Elsha deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 white monks with Prowess. That's right, this thing says that many, so if you hit someone for 6, you're getting 6 1/1s that also have Prowess, so the next time you play any non-creature, those all become 2/2s, and then 3/3s if you play another one till end of turn. This can get incredibly out of hand, and it will. This is easily one of the most like potent, strong decks I've seen as a part of this series. Incredibly good. Again, every card under $1. As you'll see, absolute powerhouse. So one of the first things we're going to want to do is buff our commander because we want this thing to be huge when it hits someone in the face. Of course, just playing a non-creature spell. So if we play a Soul Ring on our turn, our commander will get a +1/+1 until end of turn. So again, this deck's just really powerful right off the rip for the game just happening. But if you play a buff spell that's also non-creature, she'll get an even bigger buff. So why not do that as well? You know, a couple of my favorites in this deck. Fist of Flames is incredible, being a 1 and a red instant. Draw a card. Until end of turn, target creature gets trample, +1/+0 for each card you've drawn this turn. So even off just drawing your card for turn, plus playing this spell, you've drawn 2. So you can give your commander a +2/+0 plus the prowess, so it'll be a +3/+1 until end of turn. That's really good. That's not even factoring in the crazy amount of ways to draw cards in this deck. This thing could absolutely become game ending in some case scenarios with the amount of 1/1s it's going to produce. Super good. Even something as simple as Honor becomes really good in this deck, being a 1 white sorcery that gives a creature a +1/+1 counter and draws you a card. In this deck, this is 1 white, give a creature a +1/+1 counter, give that creature +1/+1 until end of turn, draw a card, which is really, really good. Like this just being pretty much a +2/+2 for 1 white, draw a card in this deck. That's pretty invaluable. You draw that mid-game, you're like, oh, cool. Give him an extra +2/+2, replace it. Sweet. Do this too. You love that. And of course, stuff like Unleash Fury, Bulk Up, they both double the power of a creature. These are both going to be nutso. You finish off one of your spell chains with one of these. Just, yeah, I'm going to play Fist of Flames to give my commander +3/+0 until end of turn. And then I'll play Bulk Up to make my commander a 10 power until end of turn. Swing at someone, make 10 1/1 prowesses. Again, you just play the deck and you win the game. It's really, really good. Now, what becomes really important mid-late game with this deck is the ability to actually connect with the commander. Like, what is the commander's interest? What's its hobbies? What's its passions? Giving it evasion is going to be, like, incredibly useful. A couple of my favorite ways to do it in this deck. Aqueous Form is a classic 1 blue enchantment aura. When it enters, scry 1. Enchant creature can't be blocked. It becomes even better with stuff like Distortion Strike being 1 blue for a sorcery. Target creature gets +1/+0 until still end a turn and can't be blocked this turn, and it's also got rebound, so it'll cast again on your next turn for free from your graveyard. And in this deck with the prowess, this is a +2/+1 unblockable for 2 turns in a row, and it'll also just trigger all of our other Spellslinger stuff, which we're about to get into. Incredible card in this deck. Now, in terms of getting actual triggers for casting all of these non-creatures, specifically instants and sorcery spells that we're using to buff our commander and then make a ton of tokens with our commander. One of my favorite uses, you know this about me, I love token engines. So stuff like Young Pyromancer, turning all of our instants and sorceries into 1/1s. We love to see that. Talrand Sky Summoner, turning all of our instants and sorceries into 2/2 Drakes. Those are always good. We've also got another one of my personal favorites, the spell ping type cards. You've got stuff like Gutter Snipe. Whenever you play an instant or sorcery, deal 2 damage to each opponent. Or stuff like Cory Mountain Stalwart, which is actually pretty decent, being a 1 and a red and a white for a 3/3. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, it deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life. These types of effects are gonna not only chip your opponents down, they're gonna fire off all the time. And when you're pumping up a huge evasive commander, chipping your opponents down becomes incredibly good because now they're within range for your commander to take them out. The deck also runs Feather the Redeemed because every time we target a creature with one of our instants and sorceries, it goes back to our hand, and that's this entire deck's bread and butter. So that's, of course, going to be incredible in this deck. Also, the absolute MVP of this deck, easily the best card in the entire list, is Zada Hedron Grinder, being a 3 and a red 3/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets Zada, you create a copy of that spell for each creature you control. Yeah, so once you get enough of those 1/1 prowess monks into play, it's good game. That's literally Zada plus enough of those 1/1 monks in play is literally good game. Sorry. Bye-bye. Same thing goes for Balmor Battle Mage and Leonin Light Scribe, both providing board-wide buffs if we play instants and sorceries. Again, paired with enough of those monks, literally good game. Bye-bye. Again, as I said, all the cards in all of these decks are under $1. A few of the commanders come in at like $1 or $2. They are absolute powerhouse decks. If you want to playtest, look at, or pick up any of these decks, there are Moxfield links to all 4 of them down in the description and the comments. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're digging what you're seeing. And if you've been around for a while and haven't subscribed, I don't know what your deal is, dude. I seriously don't know what the problem is. I actually can't figure you out, dude. If you want to show some additional support to the channel, be sure to check out the Patreon and YouTube members. It starts as low as $1 and it seriously does help me out a ton. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking your ear off and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.